Surefire RC2 versus the RC2 Mini. That is a question that I have seen going around a lot lately. Surefire makes excellent products and their suppressors are no exception. Over the years, they have earned a reputation of making the most reliable, durable, and well-rounded suppressors for combat. So let's get into the differences between these two cans. The RC2 was originally and specifically designed for short-barreled rifles, whereas the RC2 Mini was specifically designed for 14.5 and longer rifles. So I think a lot of people's questions stem from, what are you giving up and what are you gaining with the other? So let's go over the RC2 and what it offers. First thing has to be the durability. That goes for both of these cans. They're both made of Inconel, and back in my machining / gunsmithing days, I've worked with Inconel, and it is a son of a bitch of a metal. It is super strong, very heat resistant, very good at dealing with heat and keeping its structural integrity. People have gotten upwards of like 80K rounds on these things and are still going. They're a super robust, super long-lasting can that'll last the normal person a few lifetimes. Flash reduction with the RC2 was satisfactory for Socom. Did a really good job at mitigating flash and overall signature reduction. Sound reduction, we're not going to go over decibel readings today. With that being said though, this does reduce sound pretty good. That's just a byproduct of signature reduction in general. Sound goes along with it. Both of these do a pretty good job at reducing sound actually. Overall, this is a very well-rounded can, and so is this one. The RC2 Mini tries to offer the same as this one. Durability, good flash suppression, while in a small compact package. The general idea with this is it's really optimized for a 14.5 and longer barrel, and you are still gonna get within that threshold of good performance with the signature reduction at night, day, whatever. Still does pretty good sound mitigation. It is quite a bit smaller. The idea is overall signature reduction. We're not necessarily talking just about sound. What suppressors are used for in a combat application is to reduce the muzzle flash and make it a little bit harder to pinpoint where the shots are coming from and disguise the sound. Here to tell you right now, both of these do a very good job at that. Where this one suffers a little bit is on a shorter rifle. If you were to put this on there, it's really not going to do its job as good as, this would, because it's longer. Now, these aren't the quietest cans on the market. For combat applications, that shouldn't be your main focus anyway. I hate it when people focus just on sound reduction because there's a lot of other qualities that go along with suppressors that is super important. So the next thing, and this goes for both of these, is going to be the mounting. The mounting system is really, really nice. It's just a simple ratcheting system. You rotate it till it clicks in to the little notch, and there you go. So another point to talk about with Surefire suppressors in general is they do a good job at mitigating blowback. You're obviously with a suppressor, you're still gonna have pretty decent amount of blowback. These do a really good job. They're not as bad as some other suppressors out there. Flow-through design is all the rage nowadays, and obviously they do a significantly better job at reducing blowback, but everything is a give and take. Everything has its pros and cons. I prefer Surefire suppressors right now. Another thing to note, the Mini versus the full-size RC2. This one is gonna have a little bit more back pressure, a little bit more blowback. That's just kind of what you get from trying to squeeze as much performance as possible out such a short package. The blowback from this is gonna be a little bit more than the regular RC2, but it's not that bad, and we'll demonstrate that here. We've got 3 guns here today. I've got my 14.5, I've got 11.5, and my 13.9 as a bonus. I'm going to slap this guy on the 13.9 later and just show it really, 14.5 and 13.9 isn't that much of a difference. This will still perform, even though it is maximized for 14.5, still perform pretty well on a 13.9 setup. So without further ado, we're gonna start out first with my 14.5. I'm gonna show you the gassing of it versus these two, and we're gonna get kind of an ear feel for the sound, and then at night, we're gonna go and compare these two and see what kind of flash we get. So let's get to the day portion of this video. This is the regular RC2. I want you guys to pay attention to the ejection pattern, the gassing of the gun. This is a little bit more on the gassy side of guns. It's a URGI, so it is a duty gun. It's going to have a bit of a larger gas port on it. So just know You should be able to see the difference though between the gassiness between the two suppressors. So here's an ear feel. All right, 2 shots. All right, notice that ejection pattern. And notice the gases to my face. It's not too bad. I have the Radiant Raptor SD charging handle, so that's kind of helping out with the gases a little bit. But let's go ahead and we're gonna switch to the RC2 Mini just so you can see the difference in gassing. RC2 Mini, again, I want y'all to pay attention to that ejection pattern. It doesn't change much, but it does change a little bit, and it is slightly gassier, like I said. All right, slightly louder too. Notice the ejection pattern is a little bit more forward. All right, now we have the 11.5 with the full-sized RC2. I'm gonna take a few shots out of this. All right, and as you can tell, the sound difference between the regular RC2 on a 11.5 and then the RC2 Mini on a 14.5, between the two rifles is very, very, very close. Obviously the most quiet being the regular RC2 on the 14.5 since it is a longer barrel with a longer suppressor. All right, so now we have the Mini on the 11.5, and this is where you're gonna see the Mini does not do a very good job. And at night you would see a lot bigger of like kind of a jet of fire coming out, but we're gonna do it anyway. Here we go. So a little bit gassier too, but overall it's actually not quite as bad as I thought. It is definitely louder. This is a 13.9 with the Mini on there. One thing you're gonna notice is this gun is not nearly as gassy. It has a tri-arc barrel in it with pretty decently small gas port. But anyway, we're gonna still switch between the two, and you're still gonna see a difference in gassing. The difference in gassing might be more apparent with a gun with a smaller gas port. So let's see how she does. Notice the shell ejection. It does pretty good with the Mini on. So let's go and fire a few shots out of the 13.9 with the regular size and see the difference, if there is a noticeable one. Here's the full-size RC2. What we already know is that this is gonna be a little bit quieter, but let's see how it does on gassing. It's kind of odd. I really didn't notice much of a difference with the gassing. This one actually seemed a little bit gassier. I don't know, maybe it was just me on this run, but sound was not, to me, it's not super noticeable, but it is there. The Mini is definitely a little bit louder than the full-sized. So, and I hope that you guys can kind of see that in the clip. It's not like a crazy astronomical difference, but the difference is still there nonetheless. So, all right, so we're gonna do these side by side now. This is a 14.5. This is the 11.5 Mini, and then the regular one. So what I'm looking to demonstrate here is both of these, their signature is gonna be basically the same. And the sound level is gonna be very, very similar. So, all right, 14.5, 11.5, almost identical. Here, stay in front of the camera. No, I'm just kidding.
So I had my hearing protection on, but that sounded fucking identical.
It did. It was
like
completely identical.
Yeah, like it wasn't like I could hear the full loudness of it, but I heard the pitch and like the actual tone of it, and they sounded the same.
So now we have the 13.9 with the regular RC2 and the 14.5 with the Mini. Here we go. Actually, it's really not much of a difference at all. Yeah, there's really not much. The performance differences to me are not big enough to really matter that much to say like, oh, this one, you know, the Mini is slightly louder, so, you know, that's a no for me. I don't care. Whoops. This does a very good job. This is a very good can for the application. Now we're gonna get over to the nighttime portion of the video. All right, now that it's nighttime, we've got 2 more tests to do. We're gonna do a flash test just to show you between the RC2 and the RC2 Mini how much more flash you're gonna have with the Mini. And then we're actually gonna do a temperature test too. So what that's gonna do is we're gonna fire a string of 10 rounds, get a temp from dead cold, and then we're gonna allow the suppressor to cool down for 1 minute, let the heat dissipate. Because with the suppressor, what you'll notice is if you were to look at like a thermal camera, all the heat kind of builds up in the center and then it radiates out through the rest of the can. So that minute is just gonna allow it to heat soak a little bit. And all we're trying to do is just get kind of a metric between like how much faster the Mini heats up. We know it's gonna heat up faster. It's a smaller piece of material, so it's gonna heat up quicker. It's less displacement of heat. So without further ado, let's get to it. This is the regular RC2 on a 14.5. This is a flash. All right, this is the RC2 Mini out of 14.5. So now we have the 11.5 with the regular RC2 on. We're gonna see what the flash is like on this. All right, so this is the 11.5 with the RC2 Mini. Alrighty, this is the 13.9 with the Mini on it. Got the regular RC2. We're gonna do a 10 round string of fire. Then we're gonna get a temp measurement. I'm gonna wait 1 minute. I'm gonna do 10 more rounds, and then get another temp measurement. And we're gonna go ahead and compare that to the Mini in a second here. All right, 10 rounds. Looking at right at 170. All right, so 1 minute has passed. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fire 10 more rounds, see what the temperature is now. All right. All right, 290.
You show the camera?
Now it's time for the Mini. All right, RC2 Mini, dead cold, same thing. 10 rounds, minute cool down or heat dissipation, and then another 10 round string of fire. We're gonna get tip measurements both times. So 10 round string of fire on the Mini, it's at 180. All right, it's been exactly a minute. Same thing, 10 round string of fire, then temperature. All right, temps at 290. Alrighty, so what is the takeaway from all this? RC2 Mini, in my opinion, you're not giving up a whole lot. Yeah, it is gonna be slightly louder. I mean, decibels, that's not really what we care about. We care more about tone, and it does deliver, it gives a really good tone. Your flash, slightly brighter. Your tail is gonna be a little bit longer on that little jet of fire that comes out. We tried to capture it as good as we can. You can still see the flash, but due to frames per second and whatever crap that I don't know anything about, you can't see it every time. And one thing important to note about that flash, it seems a lot more than it is on video than in real life through your real eyes. Another point to note is the Mini heats up a little bit faster. It's not really much. I was actually surprised that 20 rounds didn't really give us much. I'm sure a higher round count you would see a bigger temperature deviation up to a certain point. You know, you're not giving up too much, but you are giving up a slight little bit. So, you know, you guys can make your own opinion on that based on the video and kind of what you've seen. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If you are kind of on the fence about getting a Mini, my personal opinion, get it. It's great as long as you put it on a 14.5. because that is what it's intended for. It works for a 13.9 just fine too. As far as 14.5 and longer, or 13.9, whatever, that's what it's gonna go on. I would not put this on a SBR. It doesn't do a very good job, and also it's gonna impact the lifespan of the can as well. It's gonna be a little bit harder on it. The longer the barrel, the better the RC2 Mini is gonna perform. This is just my opinion, but if you're looking to buy a suppressor and it's your first suppressor, I'd say the regular RC2 probably better suit you. You know, you could throw that on an SBR, your 16-inch or 14.5, wherever the heck you got laying around. Whereas the Mini is a little bit more specified. It's gonna be dedicated to, you know, 14.5s and up. And with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you stuck around for the whole thing. And remember to like and subscribe, really helps me out. And love you guys. I will see you next time.